Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Blue Jay Tay TV. I'm Blue Jay Tay, and I hope you guys had a great day. I had a very moving one. So, with that being said, I would like to talk about something that I would consider a teenage, we're putting the quotations on that, classic movie. And the reason why I say that is because teenager means exactly what it means. 13 to 18. These kids are supposed to be in high school, and we all know they're like full-blown adults. So, which, for some of the scenes, it makes it a little bit easier for us to deal with. So, I am talking about 1999's Jawbreaker. Do you guys remember that movie? Okay, I have it on DVD. It's actually available for free on YouTube. I don't know how long it's going to be there, so go ahead and get that. If you have Amazon Prime, you can rent it or buy it. So if you want to have it permanently. So it's starring Rose McGowan, Rebecca Gayheart, Julie Benz, and also starring Pam Grier. Okay, we have to talk about Pam. I love her. So this movie... This movie was an interesting one. Okay, so it opens up with Fern's narration about, the popular girls, the teenage girls. So Courtney so they showed them an order, Courtney, who's played by Rose McGowan, Marcy Fox, played by Julie Benz, Julie, played by Rebecca Gayheart, and then Liz Purr, whose name I can't find. Okay, I don't know why. But anyway, Fern is obsessed with her. She talks about her like she's literally gonna make out with her. It's just okay. To me, it gave off like super gay vibes. And I have no problem with gay people at all. You know what I mean? At all. I think women are hot too. So, but it just was obsessive. The way she talked about her. I was like, okay, girl, stop. So it's all serene until you see Liz getting kidnapped in her own home. That is until you see it was just her girlfriends. So they do this thing every year where they do something new, crazy, and surprise her friends. I don't know why that's a thought. We're going to kidnap her. What if she has a heart attack? See, those are the things I would be thinking about if I'm going to surprise somebody. It's scary to do something like kidnapping them in their own home. And then what if somebody sees you outside? Because then it's like, oh yeah, I saw a bunch of girls or a bunch of people in suits and masks take her and throw her in a trunk. Seriously. And then they stuffed this, forget golf size. Excuse me, if you ever seen those, really big, just think of a Wonder Ball, how that used to be, but 10 times bigger. But those really big Jawbreakers that can fit in a grown man's hand. She shoves that in her mouth and then duct tapes it. Talk about she just didn't want her to scream. Ma'am, duct tape would have sufficed, So, okay, all's well until they pop the trunk, snap the photo, and realize she's dead. Again, why gag her with a Jawbreaker, especially one that big? I was so confused about that. So anyway, they go to school and pretend Liz is just sick, and in order to play it up some more, they end up calling in as her mom and says, oh yeah, she's just coming out with the flu. So there's just this weird interaction of all the girls' classes. They're all paranoid, and the topics in their classes scare them. So Julie's class is talking about tragic characters of Shakespeare's time. Courtney's is talking about the dark ages of learning female anatomy. And then Marcy's is cooking, and she cracks an egg and the yolk is yellow, but the white part is red. And the girl's she's supposed to the typical goth girl. She's like, ooh, she's like, cool, you have a stillborn. And she's touching it. It's just so weird. I was like, you know what? What is this movie? It is still a classic for me. It's entertaining, but it was what is this freaking movie? So the girls are outside thinking of ways to stage her death. I said this before one of my episodes. Why not just tell somebody, especially when it's an accident? Trying to cover up the murder just makes it way worse. It just makes you look like you had ill intentions. You're always going to look like the prime suspect, but not telling anybody just makes it worse. So Marcy makes a joke about Liz, basically, for the Jawbreaker thing, maybe she was practicing. And Evil leader Courtney comes up with the idea that they need to stage her rape. Now, Julie's reluctant, but Courtney assures her it'll be the world's worst nightmare because she's the perfect teen or something like that. You can sort of kind of put a pin in that, especially with, Julie's reluctantness, because I feel like Julie got to the point where she was already not comfortable with being in that crowd, but I feel like this drove her over the edge. And the more you learn about Courtney, the more you're like, okay, yeah, I can understand why she was already like ready to go, and this just was the icing on the cake for her. So Fern ends up getting to take Liz's homework home because Courtney was late. Staging dust by rape is a thankless job. You know what I'm talking about? And then she's like, when Fern, I don't remember the woman's name in the school who asked her to give her homework. And she was like, she asked her, do you know Liz Purse? She's like, the cat's meow. And she's like, what? And then she's like, Liz is the cat's meow. I'm like, you know what? She needs counseling, okay? They're missing her at the place with the padded walls. That's all I'm saying. So, the girls beat Fern to Liz's. As they're staging the scenario, crazy obsessed Fern is outside practicing a conversation between her and Liz. It was so creepy. Like, she was like, hi, Fern. Hi, Liz. And it's like, it was so creepy. Like, oh, like, nice weather we're having. Oh, your hair smells amazing. Oh, this shirt, I got it from my grandma. It's just like, do you plan on dating her? Like, if that's what they were assuming, I would have probably liked more, like, how would I say? I would like them to be more upfront with it, like just a smidge more, but I guess that was the point of us to see it like that, to realize that she really was into her in that way. I don't know, it was kind of creepy. Meanwhile, Julie accidentally she opens an old card where it records you, and Liz is saying, what are you doing to me? So it freaks Marcy out, and they're all like, what? Like, and then like she's opening it constantly, and she's like, please stop. And I'm like, yeah, girl, stop. We're trying to stage a whole death here. I'm just saying, even though they're wrong, like, don't make it any worse. So it was from a previous birthday she had where they did something that's scary that made her say that. What is wrong with them? Now that I'm starting to think about it. But so Fern hears a girl screaming, and her dumbass decides to go in this girl's house to investigate. Why? I don't know. There's so many things she could have did, especially if she felt like she was in danger. Like, call the cops, do something. I was so confused. Meanwhile, Courtney holds the card saying, I killed Liz. I killed the teen dream. Deal with it. Put a hard pin in that. So once Fern reaches the girls, Julie is trying to get her out of there. But Courtney isn't having it. She's like interrogating her, like, I know you heard something. I know. Tell us what you know. And I'm just like, girl, she says she don't know. Like, I know she kind of heard something, but I don't think she could have rationalized exactly what was going on. So she should just let her go. Eventually, because of all that interrogating and head bobbing that Courtney's doing, she discovers Liz's body and runs. The part that sends me is when they catch up to her, Courtney says she died and we did it. Ma'am, it was an accident. Like, don't do that. Like, so anyway, she offers her to take Liz's place. And of course she says yes because, teen drama movies. Liz's parents discover her body and a full-blown investigation is under. At lunch, Courtney is basking in her creation. We're putting the quotations on that. Julie is sitting at the quote-unquote loser table, and she walks over to the clique, informing them of what's happened. Courtney's like, what you mean? Acting oblivious. She then makes a hint that she made sure to cover her story, and Julie's perplexed. Like, what do you mean? We're going to put a pin in that as well. Oh, yeah, by the way, Courtney changed Fern's name to Violet. Her Violet. That's what she said in the movie. That's what she said. Like my girl Voodoo Doll said, that's what she said. I didn't say it. So in walks Detective Vera Crew, aka Pam Grier. This was a low-key badass entrance. Like the way she walked in there, like, what's that? Like, so, and then Julie bonds with whatever that boy's name is. Skip! So there's this cute bonding moment where Julie calls Fern, aka Violet, and they start talking about fourth grade and their sleepovers. Julie then starts talking about oh yeah, because they were talking about like how they used to bake cakes together, and it was just so cute. Like, oh, like I think they had a good little. They had some good music in this movie, but it was definitely a good song behind that scene. So Julie then starts talking about time erasing things, and in a perfect comeback, Fern, aka Violet, replies, "Time doesn't erase things, people erase things." Period, sis. Because the one thing I needed her to do for Julie in that moment, even though she's looking back on everything and regretting her life with the, we'll call them the before Mean Girls plastics. So, but the good thing about that is she was regretting her life before that, but I feel like she kind of like gaslit her in a way. Like, no. It's not that I stopped being your friend. It's the fact that you wanted to hang out with those girls. So we gonna give her flowers for that one. So, they get interrupted because Courtney calls. Skip! So, also, Courtney hooks up with his boy from school. Skip! Anyway, Detective Crew starts interrogating the girls, and I promise you, nobody can do this part like her. The way she slammed the Jawbreaker on the table, when she screamed, "Who was she fucking?" I was like, oh, well. That school announcement over the intercom and Julie walking through the hall while everyone was frozen. I was about to say forcing. It was awesome. Like it was a good play on camera work. So I really appreciated that. Now, okay, Jesus. When Detective Crew talked to Fern, it was in Pauly D's voice. Awkward. She was talking about how perfect she was and how she played connect the dots in her mind with the beauty marks on the back of her neck. It was so creepy. It was so creepy how she got lost happily in those dots. She was all like, yeah, and I was imagining spider webs and sea monkeys and mermaids, and by the time the bell rang, I couldn't get these spiders or sea monkeys out of my head. They were dancing around in my head. I had the same face the detective did. Like, I'm sorry, what? Listen, hear me when I say this. I would have arrested her crazy ass right then and there. I would have assumed she did it. Because everybody else was acting normal. She was acting like, oh, God, Liz. No, you killed her. You killed her. You definitely killed her. And her name is Fern. And you see this girl in front of you. I don't even know if she claimed to say her name was Violet. I don't remember. But the point is, she don't look like her name was Fern. She looked like she probably did change. I don't know. Something about that whole scenario would have had me like, hell no. You're going downtown. Okay? So, all right. So moving on. Courtney ended up calling the detective. And she told her Liz had a craving for strange men. And by craving, she meant having sex with them. Which was crazy. So basically, now this is the pin from earlier where she said she covered her tracks. She went into this bar, found this guy, played by Marilyn Manson, by the way, brought him back to Liz's home, and had sex with him. And she put this girl under her bed. She put Liz under her bed. So basically, Liz was dead under her bed while Courtney was banging in it, getting this guy to spread his DNA all over the place so that he'd get arrested. Yo, Shorty was sick. I'm sorry. Like, I love Rose McGowan, especially even in this movie, but she was sick, dude. Like, well, can we talk about the outfit? That outfit was fire. And, like, the song behind it, even fire. Like, Rock You Like a Hurricane. Come on. That scene was lit. But, yeah, nah, fam. She's out of pocket. Like, I keep saying this, men fall to the poom every time. Like, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Anyway, so now next we get a montage of Violet just ruling the school to the point Courtney's pissed. Like, she's like, you got a better car than me, you outside vibing and everybody's just killing it with you. You done became head cheerleader. You started to play now. You got this. Well, I know she got the car from the guy she hooked up with, but the point is that, girl, like, now you can't outshine me. Like, it's basically that scenario of the puppet master and the puppet, and then eventually the puppet's going to run the puppet master. That's just that's an age-old tale. We all know this. So, that little interaction that Fern and Courtney had in the bathroom was epic. Listen, when she was just looking at her like, and I know, she's like, I'll break you, and I know a secret. Like, it was just like, girl, like, she got dirt on you. Like, and then when she was all like, yeah, go ahead, kill me like you did Liz, I was like, emotional damage. Like, seriously. So I'm sorry, y'all. That was lit. You saw Courtney's weakness in that moment, but it didn't stay long, because she ended up posting pictures of Fern before the makeover saying, "Who's Violet?" The whole school laughs and taunts her, which is so stupid, because I'm like, y'all didn't know that was her. That might be one of those flawed parts in movies that just, it made sense at the time, because it was 1999. I mean, for God's sakes, I was 8 when this movie came out. But yeah, so, you know, she ends up running. I mean, she ends up seeing herself, like, all the pictures outside. Before she even gets inside, she passes out. So she's in the nurse's office, and the nurse is like, you know, honey, it's okay. Come on, blah, blah, blah. And, like, just trying to make sure she's okay. She's like, hi, Fern. She's like, what did you call me? And she's like, Fern. She's like, that's not my name. She's like, Fern Mayo? Like, that's not, which is like, why Mayo? But anyway, it's like, Fern Mayo, that's not your name. And she, like, got upset. She's like, I have to go. And, like, so she storms out. And there's all the pictures of her in the hallway, and people are laughing at her. They're like, oh, I knew she looked familiar. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to just pretend like I didn't hear that part. So yeah. So she running through the hallway. She ends up, like, falling to the ground, whatever. And then, you know, the mean girls, Marcy and Courtney, they're, like, laughing at her, talking about her. And who's there to confront? Who's there to comfort her? Julie. So her and Courtney had this little interaction in the hallway, which is whatever. It wasn't that important. Skip! Anyway, so all in all, they devised this plan to take Courtney down, because they're like, listen, she has to go down. Her and Marcy. But I mean, Marcy's just as dumb as a box of rocks. So regardless, if she goes down, she's going down with her. Who cares? In the end, because there's really not much going on right now. In the end, Courtney wins prom queen. What's wrong with me tonight? I can't talk. Courtney wins prom queen, and her beau, the guy she was with earlier, I think his name is Dean. But anyway, wins prom king. They played the recording of I Killed Liz, I Killed the Teen Dream. Deal with it. Over and over. Like, they cut her mic off and kept playing it until everyone catches on, and they're like, oh, no, she didn't. So then she's, like, walking through, and it's, like, slow motion dramatic thing with the opera music playing, and people are like, oh, you bitch, and they're, like, throwing stuff at her and hitting her with stuff, and, you know, and at this point, all her makeup and stuff is falling off, the stuff in her hair is falling off, and then she's all like, ooh, and then she sees Julie, and she's like, Julie, and then she's, like, smiling, she's like, ew, and she takes a picture of her. It's just it's an ugly picture. Excuse me. And she puts it in the yearbook. And, you know, that was the end of that. Oh, I'm sorry. Marcy hid under the table. I forgot about that part. All in all, like, was this a classic teen movie, quote unquote? I'll say yes. And the reason I say that is because this is what we usually saw as teenagers growing up. You know, even if it wasn't in our school, this is the stuff that we saw on TV, and it was, to me, a good movie, especially for its time. I mean, because so many things have been better, yeah, but I mean, realistically, if you want to be honest, Marcy was like, she was exactly what she was supposed to be, like that secondhand cast. Julie, she was okay, but really, honestly, Courtney carried that movie on her back. And Violet, She literally added more to the story and added more character depth than anybody else besides Courtney. So I feel like it was really good. Would that apply today? No, we got way too much. We got way too much, social media for that to for that to happen. They would have been caught a long time ago. But I think it was fun, invigorating. Again, there's so many graphic scenes, like the one scene I didn't really put in there with Courtney telling her boyfriend that she forgot how to, perform oral, just because she said she was in for a little kink. So she put her popsicle in his mouth and then basically was like, I want you to show me. And then, she went and did her thing. And he reacted like she was really doing that. Okay. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm going to try to keep it G. Okay. I do not want this to get flagged. Anyway, but, for scenes like that, scenes like the whole Marilyn Manson scene that I was talking about, that's why they needed full-blown adults. Because I don't think I would have wanted to see that. Well, actually, I know I wouldn't have. I'm sorry. Well, as an adult, I wouldn't want to see that, basically. So I'm glad they kind of used adults for that. And you really have to. You can't put children in those type of scenes. But regardless, I thought it was fun. It's definitely a good watch. I would suggest watching it. If you haven't watched it, where hell have you been? But definitely watch it and let me know what you think. Who is your favorite character from that movie? Actually, I'm going to put some Q&As and some polls down there for you guys. So make sure you go ahead and check it out. With that being said, stay awesome, stay sweet. I'm going to drop another episode tomorrow in the AM. And I'll see you guys then. Cheers.